You take a walk on day 11, just to the end of the block and back, and what you notice isn't chaos. It's selection. The brass knocker is gone from the house on the corner. Somebody peeled the bike lock off the garage across the street and left the wheel. 3 houses down, the windows are freshly boarded, but the job looks rushed, the boards still pale and clean, and anybody walking past can read what that means. Somebody in that house has things worth protecting. You stand at the end of your driveway and turn around and look at your own place the way a stranger would. And what you see stops you cold. And your porch light, your nice little solar porch light you forgot about, is glowing like a lighthouse. Here's what nobody tells you. When the grid goes down and the gangs come out, your fence won't save you. Your Ring camera is a paperweight. That AR-15 you're so proud of, it'll help in exactly one kind of fight, the fight you already lost the second they picked your house off the street. Because marauders don't kick in random doors. They shop, they scout, they pick. And the single thing that keeps them moving past your driveway isn't firepower, it isn't steel, it isn't a big dog. It's a decision they make in about 11 seconds from the sidewalk. And you either win that decision before they arrive, or you don't win it at all. Stick with me, because we're going to walk through exactly how to lose that 11-second audition on purpose. And toward the end, I'm going to tell you about the one object people leave in their front yard that is basically a billboard saying, "Food inside, please knock." You probably own 3 of them right now. Let's name our villain. The marauder, the looter, the crew, whatever you want to call them, they're not a horror movie monster. They're a tired, hungry, scared person doing math. Calories in, calories out. Risk versus reward. Every house on your street is a little equation to them, and they are running the numbers fast. Because staying still in the open is how you get shot. That's the enemy, not evil. Just arithmetic with a knife. So how do you break their math? You become the most boring, most broken, most useless-looking house on the block. That's the one thing. I'll say it plain because this is the thesis of the whole video. Don't be a hard target. Be a stupid target. Be a target that looks like it's already been hit, already been picked clean, already isn't worth the bullet or the sweat. Hard targets get tested. Dead targets get skipped. We're going to call this the already dead look, and it's got layers. Because you can't just throw a tarp on your window and call it a day. Real camouflage is detail. Layer 1, the outside audit. Walk to the end of your driveway right now, today, while things are still normal. Turn around. What do they see? Manicured lawn, clean siding, packages on the porch, a generator bolted to the side of the house humming like a dinner bell, smoke coming out of a chimney, cars in the driveway that still have air in the tires. Every single one of those things is a signal flare that says, resources inside. Your job, when things go sideways, is to kill every signal. Overgrown weeds. A smashed front window covered with a ratty sheet from the inside. One broken chair tipped over on the porch. Maybe some spray paint. Ugly, angry, meaningless. You're not decorating, you're telling a story to a stranger who has 11 seconds to buy it. Layer 2. The smoke tax. Listen close. In a real grid-down winter, you will be tempted to run a wood stove because you'll be cold and miserable. Smoke travels a mile in still air. That smoke says 2 things to hungry strangers. 1, somebody lives here. 2, they have fuel, which means they probably have food. Burn at night if you have to burn. Burn dry hardwood that puts off the least smoke. And here's the trick nobody does. Run your stovepipe through a charcoal mesh baffle to cut the visible smoke by a huge amount. You'll still smell it up close, but from 4 blocks away, you're a ghost. Layer 3, and this one feels dumb until it saves you. Light discipline. A single candle behind a thin curtain can be seen from 300 yards at night when the whole world is dark. 300 yards. Think about that. You've been trained your whole life to fear the dark. After the grid goes, light is what you should fear, because light is an advertisement. blackout curtains, cardboard taped over windows, 2 doors between you and any room with a lamp in it so light bleeds, then dies, then bleeds again, then dies again before it reaches the street, a flashlight pointed at the ceiling instead of the floor, red lens filters because red light carries less and doesn't kill your night vision. You want your house to look, from the outside, like a tomb. Quick pause. Breaking the fourth wall for a second. If this is making you rethink your setup, hit the like button and subscribe, because I promise you, the next grid down scenario is not going to send you a calendar invite. You're going to want this stuff already in your head when the lights drop, not bookmarked in a tab you can't load. Somebody you care about might need to hear this too. Send it back to it. Layer 4, the sound problem. Generators are the #1 reason families get hit in a grid down scenario. I've talked to guys who lived through hurricane aftermaths and long blackouts, and every single one of them said the same thing. The generator kept us alive and painted the target. A small inverter generator running behind a soundproofed plywood box. Set inside a trench, 20 feet from the house, is still loud, but way less loud. Better option. Solar with a battery bank, completely silent, 0 smoke, 0 smell, 0 reason for anyone to look twice. Silence is camouflage. Layer 5, the fake looted look. This is where it gets fun and a little theatrical. Leave one busted front window, boarded from the inside with whatever ugly scrap you've got. Mess up the front garden. Drag one piece of trash across the walkway, a torn-up bag, some empty cans, a single shoe. A shoe on a porch is a powerful image. It says violence happened here already, and marauders, bless their greedy little hearts, assume violence has already taken the good stuff. Spray paint something cryptic on your garage door. A red X, some numbers. Looters have a weird superstition about houses that look already marked because they assume a bigger, scarier crew got there first and left it alone for a reason. And I want to drop this in here because it's the thing people miss. Security isn't about being stronger than the threat. It's about being less interesting than the threat's next option. That's it. That's the whole game. Write it down. Now remember that thing I mentioned earlier about the object in your yard that's basically a billboard? It's your grill, or your smoker, or that propane tank chained to the side of the house. A full propane tank to a hungry stranger is cooking fuel for a month. A grill means barbecue, which means meat, which means a freezer somewhere inside that may or may not still be working. Bring that stuff inside. Or better, drag it out to the curb and leave it looking empty, lid open, ash scattered. Let them see it and keep walking. Quick ask, since we're deep in it. Drop me a comment and tell me about the street you live on right now. Not the address, obviously don't do that, but tell me, if the grid went down tonight, which house on your block gets hit first and why? I read these, and honestly the answers teach me more than any manual. Some of you are already seeing things your neighbors can't. Let's talk about why this actually works, because I want you to understand the psychology, not just memorize tricks. Predators across the board, human or animal, run a cost-benefit loop. Energy spent versus calories gained. The second your house looks like it requires a fight, a climb, a pick, or a risk, and the house next door looks like an unlocked fridge, you have won. You didn't outgun them, you outboard them. Studies on urban burglary, even in normal times, show that target selection happens in under 30 seconds on average, and the top factors aren't locks or alarms, they're visible signs of occupancy and visible signs of valuables. Strip both. Become invisible and become worthless at the same time. And yeah, you need the guns too. You need the water. You need the food, the medical kit, the plan for if they come in anyway. This video isn't telling you to skip any of that, but all of that is for the fight you didn't manage to avoid. The real win, the cheap win, the win that doesn't cost you a single round of ammo, is the fight that never happens because your house looked wrong on the walk-by. So, back to that porch. 3 in the morning now. You heard the boots an hour ago. You killed the solar light the second you heard them. You'd already boarded the front window with splintered plywood last week. The grill is on the curb, ash on the driveway. Your generator is buried in a box 20 feet back, humming quiet as a cat. Inside, you're in the back room, shotgun across your lap, one candle behind 2 doors. The boots stopped at your driveway. Someone said something low. Somebody else laughed, mean. And then, the most beautiful sound in the world after the apocalypse starts. Boots, moving, past. You're tired. You're thirsty. You're sitting in the dark with a shotgun at 39 years old, wondering how your life got here. But you're still here. Because you understood the one thing most people never will. You made your home not worth the walk up the driveway. If this kind of thinking is clicking for you, stay on the channel. Because the next video is about what to do if they don't walk past, if they pick you anyway, and exactly how the first 90 seconds of that decides whether you see the sunrise, Subscribe so you catch it before you need it, not after.